Cloud9 Vaping, sponsors of Dave's Tackle Box.
Hello, welcome to Dave's Tackle Box on the 16th of December 2012. That makes it 3 days since my 21st birthday. I froze basically on 21, so that's my 21st birthday, if I work it out. But there you go. And I've got some toys to play with, and they're good. And if we've got time at the end, I'll show you my favourite new toy. But it all depends on whether we've got time, because we've got quite a busy show again tonight. I've got a couple of new devices, one of which was a birthday present from Daz at Safer Sigs. But I won't mention football to Daz at all, except a bit, but not much. I've also got another device. I've been raiding the UK Vapors Classifieds again, and got something that I want to share with you and show to you, which I think is rather good actually. And then what else have we got? Of course, we've got Tim Bonyface is coming to join us. You might remember, it's quite a while ago now, because what with me being missing and him being missing, it's been a little while since we had an update. But we were talking last time he was on about sort of under 18s and using electronic cigarettes and their parents buying for them and stuff. And Tim set off, and he hasn't finished his little sort of documentary or anything yet, because obviously that's going to take some working out, but he's going to be giving us an update on that. We're also going to be having a little talk about these e-shisha things that Dave Dawn was showing on the Haze Hour. Tim's got a bit of a perspective on those, and no doubt there'll be other stuff too. And I actually think that the segment with Tim is going to be broadcast simultaneously on RY4 radio as well. So, there's just no bounds to the technology we can use on these shows these days. It's good, isn't it? Now, some of you, the more observant of you, maybe notice that I'm sporting my Damned tour t-shirt, because I was there on Thursday night. That's got to be probably one of the most hectic days of my life. I did a full day's work in Germany, flew back, went to a damn gig, came home and opened my birthday presents on Thursday. So there's no limits to the stamina that I can dig up, and the effort that I can produce when it involves opening presents and going to see the Damned. But anyway, another thing that I acquired this week is a new mod. Like I say, I got it from the UK Vapors Classifieds. Something I'd had my eye on for a little while, then kind of sort of forgot about it. Then I was looking again, and everything just came together at the right time. Got it at a good price. This is about the Chameleon mod. See what you think of this. When I was at Vape Fest in August 2012, UK Vape Fest in Tamworth, I was talking to a vapist of Vapist Vaporizers, and just looking at what he brought along with him on the day. And there was a little box there with one of these things in it. And this is called the Chameleon Mod. Now, it wasn't actually for sale, so he wouldn't part with it. And the guy who actually makes them wasn't around. It was just sort of lying there on the table. But I was unable to purchase it. But I had a little mess with it, and I thought, that looks quite nice. And I've got to be honest, I came back from Vape Fest and I never really gave it a thought again. But I've mentioned in other reviews and on Vapor Trails TV that I've been looking for a mod that goes nicely with my Fagatti atomizer, my Fagatti Type 22 Genesis Atti, because none of the things I got really did it justice. So when one cropped up in the classified section on UK Vapors earlier this week, I grabbed it with both hands. So I'd just like to say thank you to Brian. So I got it at quite a good price as well. It's a nice mod. We're going to have a look at it now. So when I saw the Chameleon on the table at Vape Fest, it was in a box like this. I bought this one second hand, as I say, but it's still with the box and everything, which is always nice. If I just pop the little catches open, that's basically what I saw. I saw it presented like that at Vape Fest. You get an instruction leaflet, which we'll have a quick look at, and the mod itself in this little foam inset. So you get this little instruction leaflet included, which is pretty good actually. It shows you all the component parts of the mod, which we'll have a look at in a second, how things go together. It gives you some tips on how to assemble it, which I'll mention, some do's and don'ts. On the back of the leaflet there's a little bit about PV safety. PV, I don't like the term PV, personal vaporizer, personally, but I'm still going to call it an e-cig because it's what it is. It talks about not putting the thing into contact with metallic objects and stuff like that, and I'll show you why that is. It's because it's got a contact switch. It advises against using spacer magnets. It warns against over tightening threads. It tells you which types of batteries to use and recommends even as to using IMR or the AW safe chemistry and IMR batteries. Talks about the switch. It gives you some tips if you're going to be recoiling your Genesis atomizer, but I've got another one on that which I'll show you in a minute. And it talks about aftermarket accessories and cleaning and all the usual stuff, so well worth a read. Some useful info in there. It's not overly lavish, but it's perfectly sufficient. Like the logo too. Now, as I like to do, I've taken the mod down into as many parts as I can possibly get it. The one thing I haven't done is remove this terminal centre pin from this plastic piece, which is referred to in the little instructions as an insulator block. Now, why have they called it an insulator block? It's pretty simple really. It's basically to stop that centre pin, which will be the positive contact for the battery, coming into contact with the metal steel frame of the mod, because otherwise it would short. And this is pretty standard but really important in this mod because of the way the switch works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assemble it. You've got your insulator block with your battery contact screw, and that fits into this 510 top cap. So this is threaded to take a 510 atomizer. Bound to have something 510 nearby. In fact, I do. You can see that fits onto your 510 atomizer. In this case, the Fagatti. And the way they suggest to set this up for your atomizer is to slacken off this screw. So unscrew that so that's not protruding, and then screw that into. Now, be careful with this. It's a well-made thread, but it's Delrin. you want to make sure you don't get this cross-threaded or anything, and screw that into the other end of the top cap like that. There we go. And screw that sort of fairly tight to this top cap here. Then you can tighten. I mean, it's a screw. You could use a screwdriver, but I don't think it needs it. You just got to do that. Tighten that until it won't go any further. And then when you remove your top cap, you know you've got a perfect connection for the atomizer you're going to use. Next thing to do when you're assembling is to attach this thing, this is the ring switch. This is the switch mechanism, and I'll show you how it works in a second. But that needs to go on this top collared part of the battery tube, or the center tube as it's referred to in the instructions there. Basically, one side of this ring switch has a thread, the other one doesn't. So there's no thread at the top here, so you want the end with the thread, and that's the bit that goes onto there, and you can see that it matches that thread there. And just tighten that really lightly. Don't over tighten that, because that will give you some irritation later. Literally just until it stops, like that. That's it. That's all you need to do with that for now. Once you've done that, you can take your insulator block, which we've set up for our atomizer, and screw that gently, making sure again that we don't cross thread the plastic onto the metal, otherwise you're going to end up with tears. Just gently thread that down till it's just very lightly finger tight. Right, so when we put the battery in there, it's going to touch the bottom of that contact there, the screw that we tightened up into the insulator cap. That's going to be the positive terminal of the battery. The negative terminal of the battery is going to be connected via the steel tube when we put the cap on. To complete the circuit and fire the device, what you have to do is loosen this ring switch and just touch it, and that's your contact between the ring switch and the top cap. That's how your switch works. So it does have a locking mechanism. You just screw that back down onto the thread so that can't move, and that's why your insulator block is called your insulator block. It's separating your positive from your negative power supply. It only fires when you loosen that off and push the switch up. Neat, huh? Right. Then you got this thing. This is a plastic sleeve. This is a black one. I didn't get any choice because I bought this second-hand off of a forum. But I'm cool with it because I like black. Black's good. Black and silver particularly go very well together, I think. This is what gives the Chameleon its name. Basically, by putting that on there, I've got a silver and black mod. You can also buy them with, there's pictures on the chameleon.co.uk website, chameleonmods.co.uk website, should I say. There's a red one, there's a white one, there's another black one with like cut out in, so you can see the silver in through there and everything. It's pretty, and I gather that these are going to be available as accessories in time. I'm looking at the website at the moment, and they seem to have sold out of everything while they're making more stuff. But that's why it's called the Chameleon, because you can change it, so you can change the colour. But I quite like the black, so I'm not sure if I'll bother. If I was going to replace this with something, another colour, I think I'd probably go for this colour. I might even leave it off, but like obviously that's recessed to take something that might look a bit odd. But anyway, okay. The instructions recommend the use of AW batteries, and it even specifically refers to IMRs. That's good because I've got some. Positive end to touch that terminal that we saw before. Drop it in, bottom cap on. That's the mod assembled and ready to use. So to fire it, we slacken this off. That is now providing power to the atomizer connector. I have a couple of times forgotten to slacken that off. I left it in the car. I put it in the cup holder in the car Well, I nipped into the shop yesterday, and this bit caught the edge and did that, and it was like that while I was in the shop. And I came out and my atomizer was glowing red hot. So get into the habit of locking that. Now, a little thing that I've noticed, my only gripe that I've found so far with the Chameleon mod is if you over tighten that, and it's actually quite easy to do, then slackening it can be a pain. Now, of course, it's not going to do it now, it's going to prove me a liar. But yesterday I couldn't undo that without it actually turning the bottom cap. But it's going to prove me a liar now. But I think it's still a good habit to be into. Just when you lock the switch, all you've got to do is stop it sliding up there. Yeah, so just basically just the lightest of turns there to stop that happening, and it won't fire in your pocket, or indeed in the cup holder of your car. So as you saw, I set this up to meet nicely with the positive connector on my Fugatti. So I can attach that now. I think that looks great. I'm still going to look for something else as well to go with the Fugatti, because it doesn't meet perfectly there. But I'm just being obsessive now, because that looks pretty good to me. Loosen that. That's firing. Working nicely. One more thing that I want to mention as well, it does advise in the instructions about making darn sure that you've got that switch closed off in the locked position so it can't accidentally fire if you're going to be standing on this to rebuild your Genesis atomizer or whatever. But I found something it's not really a fantastic tip, but if you unscrew the top cap from the insulator block, it makes a fantastic stand for doing your rebuilding. Yeah, brilliant. Just thought I'd share that one with you. Now, unfortunately, if you go onto chameleonmods.co.uk, you'll find that everything's out of stock at the moment. There's a message there saying that they've got a lot of back orders to fill, but because there's nothing on display there, I couldn't check the retail price of it. But I'm led to believe, somebody has suggested to me that it's 85 quid, which seems about right, to be honest with you, for something of this quality. It's a little bit unusual. I like it. The switch, like I say, I've been using it since Friday morning, so it's about 3 days worth of use at this point, and the switch is just faultless. It just works. There's cleaning instructions. It looks like I'm going to have to do a little bit of cleaning and maintenance to keep it working that way, but that's okay because it drops apart so easily. It's not a big deal to drop it off, wipe it just to make sure you're getting a good contact. The only issues I've had with the switch, as I say, is initially when I locked it, if it's easy, because the thread's so good, it's almost too good, you can just sort of spin it down to lock it, and it makes such a good contact that it can be hard to release it without one of the other threads giving first. I mean, and there you go, I've done it. So the bottom cap here stops spinning before that one does. But that's just a case of learning not to over tighten it and just gently doing that. You can stop it rattling. There's no rattle without over tightening it. It's something that you'll get used to. It fires when it should. I've had a couple of issues with it firing when it shouldn't because I haven't locked it off, like I said, in the cup holder in the car. That was a bit of a pain. This thing didn't half get hot, and I've re-wicked it accordingly this morning because it basically burnt all the juice. But I like it. I haven't tried using it with a kick or anything yet, but I can see no reason at all why it shouldn't work. The instructions do say that they'll accept no responsibility for any damage done if you're using a third-party product. I think that's probably just a standard sort of disclaimer. Probably makes sense for a small manufacturer to absolve themselves of any liability for using third-party things like a kick. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't work. That's probably the next thing I'm going to try. I'm very, very pleased with it, especially since I got it at a decent price. Another thing I did notice was on the website, which I liked, was you could buy just about every one of those component parts we looked at separately. So if you did damage or lose a part, when they're in stock, you should be able to replace just the bit you need. You can get just the ring switch, just the top cap. That's a good idea. So yeah, very pleased with the Chameleon mod from chameleonmods.co.uk. I like it. I think it looks hyper sexy with the Fagatti. Thanks for watching. There you go, that's the Chameleon Mods. I noticed that there's nothing actually listed for sale on the site currently, but there's like a gallery, and there was a picture, there was like something that looked like it might have been an 18350 version, so the centre tube I guess is smaller. But I have to say that it's a really nice mod. I'm really pleased with it. It's one of my better recent purchases, that's for sure. And with the Fagatti, it looks a treat. It's funny, the commenting chap there about remembering to lock this off before I go to sleep. And I just don't understand that comment. Anybody would think I've got a habit of falling asleep with touch-sensitive switches and melting mods, and I just don't know where that idea might have come from, frankly. Now, I'm just remembering something, because I had to change one of my shots earlier, and did you see how I seamlessly fixed that problem? Let's take a break.
Cloud9 Vaping, sponsors of Dave's Tackle Box.
And good evening, eventually. Took a little while to get things wound up and ready to go then, didn't it? But I'm here now, so welcome to Dave's Tackle Box on Sunday.
So there we go, I'm back in the room and not long to go now. So yeah, I was talking to my son, and he's watched me make things before.
And a very good evening to you. It is Tuesday the 20th of November 2012, and you are tuned into BBC
At Vapetrans TV Towers. Tonight being Wednesday night, it is time for the one and only chat show programme called VT Talk.
Tis the Haze Hour. Again, Keith was just saying if it wasn't for the titles, he wouldn't come and do the show. He loves them so much, don't you?
Cloud9 Vaping, sponsors of Dave's Tackle Box.
And welcome back, everybody. And let me just stop that echo. That was a bit amateurish. That wasn't seamless. So, it's Tim, everybody. Hiya, Tim. How you doing?
Hello, mate. Not so bad. Yourself?
Yeah, not
It's been
bad
a while
at all.
now, hasn't it? Been a couple of weeks or so.
Yeah, it has. It has probably more than that, because I was missing and then you were missing, and But anyway, you're here now, which is great, and I understand. I think there's a bit of problems with the frame freezing a bit there, but we'll muddle on through. I understand we're going out on RY4 radio simultaneously, are we?
We are indeed, yes. We're live on our Y4 radio as well. There's one or two people that pop into UKV chat who don't do the video telly thing, but they're quite happy to listen to the radio. So I
Right,
thought I'd
okay.
give them a chance and they can have a little listen to what we're doing.
Don't they know what tellies are?
Well, I think some of them probably haven't got tellies. They do live in the north of England.
Oh, God, sorry. Yeah, you should have said.
Oh, no, I know. Sorry, yeah.
Anyway, mate, what you been up to then all
That's
these
just
weeks?
woken me up to a barrage of problems now.
Yeah,
hasn't it?
yeah. Enjoy that when you get back to your show. Yeah. So, what you been up to for the last couple of weeks, then, Tim?
Working nice and hard. This time of the year is pretty busy for me as well because we've got the PA hire business that's working hard for Christmas parties. Everyone getting very drunk and very silly.
Right.
I went to an awards dinner with the company I work for. They were sponsoring it, and we sat in a very nice hotel, table of 10, vaping away all night long, much to the disgust of some of the staff of the 5-star hotel we were in.
Excellent. Well
We
done.
didn't win any. We didn't win it. We didn't win anything. We just sponsored the event, but we had a great time, and I got embarrassed slightly by the local radio DJs taking the mickey out of me, but by that time it didn't really matter. So
Okay.
yeah.
Bit of Dutch courage.
Quite a lot of Dutch courage, actually. I mean, it even got to the stage when my boss turned around and said, "Right, I've put the tab on the table. Now you can have what you want." And I asked the waiter for a bottle of Cristal and a bottle of Smirnoff, and that didn't go down too well.
Well, I'm in for a similar sort of week. On Tuesday night, I've got like a meal because I'm leaving my contract at the end of next week, and then on Wednesday it's the team Christmas do. So that'll end up somewhere in Munich, probably until we start work again the next day. And then Thursday is my leaving drink. So come next weekend, I may be looking a little bit jaded, but we'll see. I shall muddle on through like a trooper, as
I think you'll probably need hospital treatment by the weekend.
As long as I've recovered in time for the Christmas drinking, it'll be all right. So
That's fine. That's fine.
anyway, we should probably talk about something to do with e-cigs, really, shouldn't we? With this
Yeah,
big
indeed,
Lifestyles
mate,
TV.
indeed.
So let's do that then. So last time we spoke, we were talking, the two of us, about something you'd noticed in your shop, where you'd got like I think. And correct me if I'm wrong, you'd had some young lads trying to buy stuff, you refused them because they were under 18, and then you became aware that their parents were coming in and acquiring stuff for them. And we kind of had this idea, didn't we, that we'd try and go and film and do a sort of little mini documentary on this, because it's an interesting subject. And so why not give us an update on that first?
Right. Well, I mean, the first thing I did after our last little chat was I spoke to some of the kids as they were popping past the shop, and to start with, they seemed very, very keen to actually do something on camera. Not kids alike, anything for a bit of a sing and a dance,
Yeah.
X Factor, you name it, they want to do it. But
It's
then
reality
I had a
TV,
parent
isn't it?
come into the shop. The parent arrived in the shop, and she's a regular customer anyway, so she's a lovely lady. And she said, "I'm not really happy about you filming the kids with the vaping." And I sort of turned that round and said, "Well, would you like to be involved? I can film you as well." "No, absolutely not." I said, "Well, look, this will go out on an e-cig community channel." I said, "It's not like it's going to be on BBC One and everyone's going to look at you and point the finger and
Yes,
that sort of.
it'll have a
I said,
friendly
it's something
audience,
which the community are really into, and we want to know why kids are actually using them, why parents are encouraging the use of them, that sort of thing." But anyway, she was quite happy to talk to me in the shop, and basically what her take on it is her kids were all smoking. Well, both her boys were smoking. She had a friend who said, "There's a shop in Eastbourne. You can get something to stop them smoking. It's supposed to be healthier, better, etc., etc." So she then went to the shop, bought some stuff for the kids, ego tank systems.
Just to
etc.
check, does she use your stuff anyway? You say she's a regular customer anyway, or
She's a regular customer, but buying for the kids. She doesn't smoke, never has done, and never wants to.
Okay, no, that's interesting in itself. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. Carry on.
That's all right, mate. That's all right. So she literally has sort of bought the stuff for the kids, but she feels that if it was to be something that was filmed, that somebody who knows her or her family may see it, and she may get tarred and feathered and rolled down the hill at Lewis on bonfire night, for actually sort of supposedly encouraging her children to smoke. That's the way she sees it. Although she's not. She's trying to stop them from smoking by giving them our alternative.
That's interesting, yeah.
It's strange. I mean, I'm going to try and work on it a little bit. I mean, I even suggested we could do, you stick with your back to the camera, I'll sit in front of it, we'll make your voice go squeaky, all that sort. I mean, I tried everything to try and do it.
Yeah.
So no,
she's not keen.
She didn't do it. No, she's not keen. And she's the only. I mean, 2 or 3 other parents have just said you're having a laugh, not a chance. But she was the only one that I thought I might be able to swing. So I mean, perhaps in the new year, who knows? She may decide to do it. But I mean, the kids really wanted to do it, but they've been told they can't. And I mean, I
understand that as a parent. I can understand that. So I'm not sure I'd do the same, but then again, I'm heavily involved in Vapor Trials TV, and they're not.
That's right.
So
I mean, I thought it would make a really good little doco. I mean, at the end of the day, it would show how the kids feel about it. I mean, they tell me, great, I love it. I don't want to smoke anymore, and the popularity, even since we spoke last time round, has increased, and I've sold quite a lot more to other parents who obviously aren't smokers, because if you know who a smoker is when they come in the shop and say smoking, and they smell of fags because they just put one outside, and these people are coming in and they're clean smelling people, so they're obviously not smokers, but they're buying stuff for Christmas for their offspring.
Okay.
Yeah. The Christmas stockings are going to be rather e-ciggy in our area, definitely. Quite a lot of people have bought them for their kids.
Just out of interest, what sort of strength of juice? Do they ask you to recommend, or do they know what they want when they come in? How clued up are they when they come to you?
Well, I mean, my first words are how many cigarettes does the person here smoke? If they're a 20 a day smoker, then I would just suggest that they start off with an 18 milligram juice that comes with most of the kits, and see how they feel with that.
That seems like a safe bet, isn't it? I mean, that's kind of the advice we give to everybody, isn't it? 18 or 24 normally. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's not too high. It's not going to do anyone any damage, is it? So
you wouldn't think so. No. Okay, that's good. That's interesting. And of course, then we were talking earlier just before we went on air. And you mentioned these e-shisha things that are going around. I know Dave Dawn was, and particularly Keith, were quite taken with these on the Haze Hour. It kind of amused me. I must get my hands on one myself because I'm just curious, So, are you stocking those in your shop now, or are you thinking about it, or?
I would like to. It's not something that's on our stock profile, so I mean, it's not something we can do at the moment. But I would like to. I mean, I've been out doing a little bit of nightclubbing recently. What's the company called? It escapes me the company's name, but one of the nightclub chains, a big nightclub chains, they've got them in their place, and like Dave was saying, they're sort of £12 a pop across the bar, and people are lapping them up. And I mean, the funny thing about it is, I mean, Dave actually mentioned on his show that someone who hasn't smoked for a long time who fancies a puff. I mean, people who don't smoke are puffing on these because they taste nice.
Right.
And that's and it's sort
and
of
they light up, I guess.
On a blue and whatever. Yeah. So it's and again these have popped up. They've popped up. Kids have brought them in to the shop and said, "Have you seen these? Have you got these?" I mean, I'd love to have them, but I mean, it's just not going to happen. I do quite a good trade in zero nicotine flavoured juices, though. I mean, buy a bottle of PG, buy a flavour concentrate, mix in 10ml bottle, shake it all up, put it into a standard e-cigarette, and it tastes great. I mean,
It's funny. There was a thread on UK Vapors recently talking about the zero nick and everything, and I made the comment, and I stand by it. You know, I put it into the same category as decaffeinated coffee, alcohol-free beer, and decaffeinated Coca-Cola. You know, I mean, I just don't get it myself, the concept of nicotine-free juice. But I know of a couple of people actually now that use zero nic, because they enjoy the sensation and they just clearly don't have the nicotine addiction. So, but I like nicotine.
Yeah, I found myself using zero nicotine juice during the day because I find that if I'm in the shop and my environment is all things vaping, I tend to be on it all the time, and I was getting a few headaches from my usual 6 milligram juice. So I have some zero now as well, which I will puff on if I feel myself getting a little bit heady.
So you wouldn't fancy this 45 milligram stuff I'm using then?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'd like to give it a go, and I think I did have a go on yours actually at Vape Fest. It did taste fine, but I think probably a couple more puffs than I would have been.
Tastes like any other juice, to be honest. It's just you just need a lot less of it, really. Yeah, I mean this isn't 45. This is 24, I think. Yes, this is 24. This is our YI5. So, but no, I kind of, you know, I never understood the concept of decaffeinated coffee and alcohol-free beer either, really. So you know, might as well.
Definitely not alcohol-free beer, but I think there's going to be a lot more to say and a lot more to be said about the sheesh and everything, because it's got a lot of marketing behind it by the looks of it. It's appearing all over the internet, and I think it's going to be pocket shisha is going to be a thing for 2013. That's of course if 2013 arrives and we don't have the end of the world next Friday, of course.
Yeah, I'm sincerely hoping not, because I'm on a promise for a good Christmas present more than anything else. So I did mention actually that I might show what I got for my birthday, which technically, right, is my birthday and Christmas present.
Really?
But you know, I've got it now, so you know, I'm just going to keep pulling a face until I get something for Christmas as well. You know the way it works. So
I do. Yeah,
do you want to see?
Just keep.
Do you want to see what I got?
Yeah.
Right.
I can't. I haven't got a picture up it on the telly. You know.
I'll just lean behind this effect like this. It's quite heavy. Can you see that?
No. We got.
You will shortly. It's quite a large video camera.
Oh, it's very large.
Yes. So I'm planning on attending as many vape meets as I can now, because otherwise this is going to be fairly useless.
Oh, it's huge. It's going to give you lots of street cred.
Yes, and probably backache. But I just had to show that off.
It's not. It's nice.
Well, I'm in a situation.
Have I got time for a quick story from the shop?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
I mean, I've probably told this story before, but not here. I had a lady who bought an e-cig, came in the shop, bought one, forced into it basically by her kids. She didn't really want it.
Right.
And anyway, the next day she came back to the shop. She said, "Oh, I'd like a refund on this." I said, "Well, we don't really do that." I said, "You know." She said, No. She said, "I've been reading the little book that comes with it, and the page at the back says, if you have emphysema, COPD, heart conditions, etc., please do not use nicotine-containing products," which is fair enough. And I said, "Well, what's the problem?" She said, "Well, I've got all of those things." And I said, "Right, okay, so I can't use this because it's got nicotine in it." I said, "So what are you actually going to do?" She said, "Well, I'm going to carry on with the cigarettes because I'm going to go see a doctor. But I'm going to carry on with the cigarettes. I'm going to ask him if I can use an e-cig." And I went, "Okay, so your cigarettes don't contain nicotine?" I never thought about that, but anyway, I'm going to go back to them. Can I have my money back? Anyway, push came to shove. I gave her a partial refund, and I kept it in the drawer for her. I said, "If you come back, I'll give you your partial back." But she's not come back. So obviously, her doctor told her that she shouldn't use nicotine-containing products whatsoever. So she's still smoking.
which clearly is going to be much better for her.
Absolutely, yeah. 40 to 60 tabs a day.
Honestly, it just defies belief. It's going to be dangerously close to going on to a subject that we just don't have time to cover tonight. But that encapsulates, does it not, the situation with these clowns across Europe trying to seek for regulation at the moment. You know,
I think
where
does, yeah.
you know there's this possibility that there's going to be some form of regulation, at least recommended by the EU. Yet cigarettes will carry on as before.
That's right. Yeah. They're always the best alternative.
It's it does my head in, frankly, and there's a lot happening in the next week or so. That EU directive gets kicked into gear in the next week or so. I think it's Wednesday from memory, and there's some kind of equivalent process going on. The FDA are meeting tomorrow to start talking about what regulation they're going to bring in as well. So it looks like our initial hopes that the MHRA, or at least the EU Commission, and the FDA had been beaten. We were wrong on both sides of the Atlantic, it's starting to look like. So it's interesting times ahead.
It's going to be one of those things to keep an eye on this week.
Hell yes, there's some interesting times ahead, that's for sure. We're doing our best on VTTV to keep our ear to the ground. And anybody watching, as we learn what comes out of these things, which is not easy. A lot of this stuff seems to be quite secretive and done behind closed doors. But as we hear the noises from these various authorities, we will, of course, bring it to you. For us tonight, Tim, we're dangerously close to the end of the show here.
We are.
So I'm going to take us, I think, into the second break. And then when we come back, you'll be gone. You'll be a distant memory. And hopefully you'll be around next week. I shall be doing a show next Sunday night. Maybe it'll be a Christmas edition. So basically just turn up with an e-cigar and some beer and some mince pies.
And a hat.
Yeah, if you like. You want to wear a
crackers.
hat. I'm cool with that. I don't discriminate against stupid hats. But you know, you feel free, and we'll see you then, mate. So thank you very much for joining us again. Take care. See you next week.
See you next week. Cheers.
And I'll be back in about 3 minutes ish. See you, Tim.
Cloud9 Vaping, sponsors of Dave's Tackle Box.
The GG, because you want one.
iVapour and iVapour Elixir, based in Yorkshire, for your e-cig needs. That's iVapour.co.uk and iVapour-elixir.co.uk. iVapour and iVapour-elixir.co.uk, proud sponsors of VapourTrails.tv.
If you can't watch our shows live, try some of these. Go to YouTube at youtube.com/user/VapourTrailsTV and you can subscribe there. All of our shows are uploaded as soon as possible after they've gone out live. Enjoy watching it on YouTube. Lots of people do. Alternatively, go to Google and type in podcast VapourTrails.tv and iTunes. Click on the link and that will take you to a page that shows you the Vapor Trails TV podcast. View it in iTunes, and when you get to iTunes, don't forget to click on subscribe free, and each of the shows will be downloaded to your hard drive as soon as they come out. or you can use video on demand. Go to www.vaportrails.tv, click on vPlayer, pick the show you want to watch, in this case it's the Haze Hour, and then you can pick the episode that you want to watch from every one that we've ever done. They're all there. Under normal circumstances you'll watch it at 360p, which means everybody can see it. It'll go full screen, you can do whatever you want with it. So there you go, 3 ways that you can watch vaportrails.tv. Subscribe and enjoy. Thanks.
Cloud9 Vaping, sponsors of Dave's Tackle Box.
And welcome back to Dave's Tackle Box. For those little messages there. Now, I've got another VT for you now on another new product, which sort of 48 hours ago I had no idea was coming my way. It was a surprise. It was sent to me by Daz at Safer Sigs, who I think is in the live chat audience tonight. So that's cool. Sent me a birthday greeting, and he sent me a birthday present, and it arrived yesterday morning. So we've got a little VT of that. It's a cracking little device. But before we do that, I just want to mention one thing. I think most people are aware that my fellow Vapor Trails TV presenter and founder member, Dave Dawn, the hi-fi stud, became a grandfather on Thursday. I've already commented tonight that Thursday was a good day for birthdays, the 13th of December. There's a lot of really cool people being born on the 13th of December, and there's one more. So I believe the baby's name is Owen, which is nice. And I just wanted to say congratulations, Dave. I know you've been really excited about it. And there you go, mate. Nice one, Grandad. Roll VT. So on Friday, I was talking to Daz of safersigs.co.uk, and he was wishing me happy birthday because it was my birthday on Thursday, and I was 21 again. And anyway, long story short, he said, "I'm sending you something. As it's your birthday, I'm sending you something. I'm sending it special delivery for Saturday delivery." And sure enough, yesterday, the postie turned up. And he brought with him one of these disposable cigars, which I'm keeping for New Year's Eve. But also, this thing, which is the L Rider Robust. I've read about it. I must admit, I had been slightly curious. But he sent one along for us to have a look at, so let's have a look at it. So, in the box, there's a plastic tray. And in that box also was this little leaflet telling you how to drive it. Because what the Robust is a funny name for an e-cig, which doesn't feel that robust, to be honest with you. It reminds me a lot of the lava tube, but it's a bit smaller. I don't have a lava tube to hold it next to, but I have a Pravari here. And you can see it's a lot smaller than a Pravari. I can hold it against this. I think this is a 1000 milliamp hour Ego battery. You see, it's probably more comparable to the size of an Ego battery than any other variable voltage device I've seen, to be honest with you. I mean, it looks quite nice. They come in a whole range of colours, and I noticed actually looking on the Safer Sigs website, they seem to be square sometimes as well, but this one's a tubular one, not square. But I think internally they're the same, whether you get a square or a round one. 36 quid is the asking price, which for a variable voltage device is not a lot of money. So it works off a 14500 battery, and you are advised to use IMR 14500 batteries. I have several of these things. Let's pop one in. You put the cap on and you'll see it's got a blue LED. Right, let's have a little look at how you drive it. Once the battery's in, you've basically got 3 buttons to deal with. You've got this one here which has got a minus sign on it, you've got this one here which has got a plus sign on it, and you've got this one here which, unsurprisingly, fires your atomizer when you've got one attached. It has some little features on it, but let's go through the basic stuff first. If you press the minus button, the voltage will go down in increments of 0.1 of a volt, and that will go all the way down to 3 volts and then cycle back down from 6. Equally, if you press the plus button, it'll go all the way up to 6 volts and then start again at 3. So you can set it in tenth of a volt increments anywhere between 3 and 6 volts. So I think that's a bit like the lava tube, really. If you press and hold the minus button for 3 seconds, it turns off the LCD display. I cannot imagine why you would want to do that, because you can no longer see what is going on. If you press and hold it for 3 seconds, it'll come back on again. So I don't really understand why anybody would want to turn that off. I just don't. To a slightly more useful feature, if you press and hold the positive button, the plus button down for 3 seconds, the display will show you the power left in your battery. So there's a little V sign there, it's now saying 4 volts. That's the power left in the IMR battery that I put in. Pretty straightforward, really. There's no on-off mechanism with the device, but it has a 10-second cut-off. So if you put it in your pocket and press the button, after 10 seconds it will turn off. So you're probably not going to do too much damage if it fires for 10 seconds. Releasing the button and pressing it again, it comes back on again. Yesterday I took it out with me shopping yesterday, and I was using it with one of these mega dual coil cartomizers that I like. It's got a funny setting. That thing will screw straight on there and work, but you don't get any airflow. It won't accept anything that's got an ego thread and needs this wide thread on the outside skirting. So for example, you cannot use something like this Steam Machine VST, which has the threading on the inside here, because there's nothing for that to thread onto. The threading needs to be on the actual, it needs to be the actual 510 atomizer threading for it to actually screw on. So that won't do anything. But of course, if you use a 510 to ego adapter, which are available from just about anywhere, then you can use just about anything you want. I tried it with, because I was trying to find something that was sort of appropriately sized and went well with it. I tried like a mini Nova tank and found I couldn't get any airflow using one of those. So it's worth checking that whatever device you want to attach to it will work with it before you acquire one. I mean, they all connect, they all fire, but the airflow can be a bit of a pain, I've learned. Using the 510 to ego adapter, of course, then I can use anything I want. Now, as I say, I went out yesterday and with one of these using a 510 to ego adapter, and it worked just fine. In fact, it was kind of nice because I normally use these on an Ego battery at 3.3 volts or whatever you get out of them, and I was able to up the voltage to, I think it was 4.2 I settled on, and it was working rather nicely. But I was sitting here this morning and it occurred to me, you know, what would look nice on there, and then it just suddenly, it hit me like a bolt from the blue that this thing would look extremely nice with the Penelope. And you know what? It does, doesn't it? Now, once you've got your atomizer attached, there's one more function that this thing does. If you press the fire button 5 times quickly, it'll show you the atomizer resistance, which in this case is currently 1.7 ohms. And I've metered that, it's right. 5 times, you get your atomizer resistance. So that's quite a neat little feature as well. But that's all there is to say on the buttons to press and what to do. I mean, basically, you put your battery in, you dial your voltage, and then you can vape it. So let's do that. So with the Penelope then. Works lovely. Works lovely. And what I like about it is, I mean, it's a variable voltage option, isn't it? But it's like, comparative to things like the Pravari or even the Lava Tube, it's tiny. It's not much bigger than an Ego. With certainly with those big dual coil cartomizers that I use on the big Ego batteries, it's a comparable size. Where did I put that battery? You know, and for over a year I lugged one of these around with me. It's you know, there's not that much in it really. This is a bit heavier because of the weight of the Penelope. But take the Penelope off and this is very light indeed. Obviously I can't comment on the vapour production and flavour and stuff like that, because it depends what you put on the top. That's going to be the biggest variation. This is a power supply. It's an extremely good one. At 36 quid there can't be many cheaper variable voltage options about. I think it looks quite neat. It feels a bit plasticky, but it is, you know. It's not a Pravari. How many these could you get for the price of a Pravari? Quite a lot. 7, something like that. I like it. It was a very nice birthday present, so thank you, Darren, and thanks everybody else for watching. Oh, I have to wonder though, had Daz forecast and predicted the with him being a Liverpool fan and me being an Aston Villa fan, I have to wonder if he'd have still sent me this if he'd have known how it was going to turn out yesterday at Anfield. Guess I'll never know. Thanks for watching. And there you go. And apologise for my sniggering there. We were having a little bit of bantering chat there about football and stuff. This is a really nice little unit, and as soon as I realised that the Penelope fitted it and looked so well on it, I just thought I like it even more. So yeah, 36 quid. Come on. For a variable voltage device. Can't be bad. Right, so there will be a show next week, but as I was discussing with Tim after what could be quite a strenuous week, I'm not even going to predict how well that show's going to go. But if you want a good laugh at a sad old bloke doing his best to struggle through an hour of live television, tune in next week. Congratulations again to Dave Dawn. Tune in tomorrow night for Gary Dibley and Mark Jones with Tinya Tip. It's time for me to go. Good night everybody, and thanks for watching.
Tackle Box.